What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. Today is December 5th, Wednesday. I don't know when you guys will see this or when I put it up, but I just heard that the Dynamite Kid, pro wrestler the Dynamite Kid, one half of the British Bulldogs, passed away today. It's also his birthday. He died on his birthday, which, that's a long shot. Someone's going to pass away on their birthday. But I was looking through some of the pictures and realized that his former tag team partner, Davey Boy Smith, I don't believe I ever shared the story of Davey Boy Smith. So we're going to start at the beginning, and we're just going to roll. So I'm a little kid. I'm probably 6, 7, 8 years old, somewhere around there. My father is a big wrestling fan. He likes to watch Saturday morning main event, which was on, whatever channel it was like WWF. And they had Saturday night main event. So it was like Saturday morning All-Stars or whatever. Saturday morning. Anyways, WWF was on in the morning every Saturday, and every once a month it would be night. And Saturday night they would have it at like 11 o'clock. It'd be Saturday night main event. We would watch the WrestleManias. Wrestling was kind of like me, my dad, and my brother's thing. My mom wasn't really into it, but these larger than life characters are coming out to the ring, and there's Hogan, which is everybody's favorite. And at this point, I see the British Bulldogs. Now, the Warlord, the Bulldogs, Hogan, they're all these big, jacked up, huge, muscular guys. And at 8 years old, they look like He-Man to me, right? I play with the He-Man action figures. I'm like, they look like He-Man. They look, like larger than life, like superheroes, like something you see in a comic book, right? Fast forward, the Dynamite Kid has an injury, and he can no longer wrestle. So he has I believe it was a nerve injury. He couldn't feel his leg anymore. He wound up in a wheelchair. Had more than one stroke. He was in really bad health. Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, he was now named the British Bulldog because Dynamite Kid was out, so it was no longer a tag team. So now, Davey Boy Smith's new gimmick, he comes out to the ring with Matilda or Winston, an English Bulldog. Now, at that age, I had never seen an English Bulldog. So I asked my dad, I was like, what is that? My dad was like, it's a British Bulldog. Not English Bulldog, a British Bulldog. I was like, a British Bulldog? He's like, yeah, English Bulldog, British Bulldog, whatever. I was like, wow, that dog is so fucking cool. I'm like, I didn't say fuck, I was a little kid. I'm like, that's the coolest dog I've ever seen in my entire life, hands down, in all 8 years that I've been on the planet. And I said, one day I'm going to have a British Bulldog too. I love that dog. It's so cool. But now, already, between the He-Man action figures and the wrestling and the dog that's built like a bulldog, what is a bulldog, I'm starting to get this vision of what I want to be when I'm older in my head. I want to be one of these superheroes. I want to be built like the superheroes. I want to be larger than life. And that must come along with having an English Bulldog for a pet, right? Because that's what Davey Boy Smith does. So I'm a huge fan, right? Fast forward, I get on steroids. I get really fucking big. I go to wrestling school. And now comes the time where I meet Spice. Her name is Melissa from WCW. Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, was now with WCW, who was brother-in-law to Bret Hart, Owen Hart, the Hart family. He was married to their sister. So I go to see Melissa, and she brings me to one of the events. I think it was in Boston. And she introduced me to some of the wrestlers. We're talking about me actually working wrestling for WCW. This is actually before I had even actually entered wrestling school at Yankee Pro Wrestling so far. And lo and behold, sitting at the table is Davey Boy Smith. So I see him, and I'm like, oh shit, the British Bulldog. Now, this is one of the only times in my life where I'm kind of speechless, right? And he's just sitting there, right? And I kind of walk over, and he's just sitting at the table. I said, hey, Mr. Smith. And he goes, just call me Davey. I said, Davey, I said, I'm a huge fan. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, how long have you been watching for? I'm like, like 50 years, whatever, 100 years. And then he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. He was really nice. I said, I have an English Bulldog. His name is Lucky. I said, he's a fawn-colored English Bulldog. I said, and I have him because I saw you as a kid. It made such an impression on me. I said, I always want one of those dogs when I grow up. I said, and as soon as I was able to afford that dog, because they're like $5,000, or about $4,500, I got lucky. Literally, I got lucky and then got Lucky the Bulldog. And he's like, really? So I pull out my wallet, and I had a picture in my wallet of me and Lucky and a couple pictures of Lucky, like my kid. And I show him, and he starts laughing, and he goes, have a seat. And I'm like, holy shit. So I sit down, and the waitress brings over his he's ordered buffalo wings, right? And he goes, check this out. And he reaches in his back pocket, and he fucking pulls out his wallet, he opens it, and he hands it to me. He digs into the buffalo wings, right? I look down, and it's a picture of him with one English Bulldog and another picture of him with another English Bulldog. It's his 2 English Bulldogs, and he has pictures of his English Bulldogs and him in his wallet. And I look up, and all I see is him take the fucking chicken leg, shove it in his mouth, and pull the fucking bone out, like in a cartoon. I was like, like the meat was like in his mouth. He's like, boop, and just threw the thing in a plate. And I was like, holy shit, this guy eats like a fucking monster. I'm like, but it doesn't matter because and now I'm like, I'm in the moment, right? And I'm talking to Davey Boy, and I said, I don't know why they're not using you more. Like WCW wasn't really using him, and they were having like a whole big thing before he had actually moved to the WWF, and that's where he actually wound up hurting his back. That's a whole nother story, but he actually took a bump in the middle of the ring, and at the time WCW had employed the Ultimate Warrior. And the Ultimate Warrior would come through this trap door in the fucking ring, and he would show up, and the smoke would be everywhere, and you suddenly like appear out of nowhere. There's the Ultimate Warrior standing there, right? And that trap door didn't shut the right way. It was kind of exposed a little bit, and when he bumped, he broke something in his back. He actually broke his back. And they put him on a bunch of fucking painkillers, and he got hooked on painkillers, and eventually Davey Boy Smith got hooked on heroin, and then passed away of a drug overdose. So, like what happened to him was very similar to what happened to me, except he didn't make it out alive. He passed away. But going back to the story, so I'm sitting there, I said, yeah, I don't know why they're not using it. He said, yeah, it's really frustrating because I feel like, I only have so many years left that I'm going to be healthy and doing this, and I really want to have those final runs, whether it's tag team, whether it's, for the heavyweight title, or they didn't have the interest. I think they had the TV title over on WCW. And we had this great conversation, and I had a few beers with him because, I drank at the time and stuff. And I just remember thinking, like, how fucking cool is it that you meet one of your idols, right? From a little boy. I held on to him, put him on a pedestal for 20-something years, right? When I was probably about 18 years or something like that. Then you finally come face to face with him. He invites you to sit down. He shares how he feels about his dogs that has inspired you. And now you guys are sitting down, having beers together, eating wings, talking about the wrestling business, which I wasn't even involved in yet. And I walked away from that, and I was like, I don't think anything can explain what that feels like. I don't think anybody can understand how fucking happy I was, how juiced up I was, not on steroids, but juiced up with fucking energy and excitement to become a wrestler, because my idol was the man that I thought he was. He was the good guy that I thought he was. And I look back and I'm like, how many people in their lives are going to have that experience? Where they're not even just, they're first of all going to be able to meet their childhood idol. A lot of people will never meet who they looked up to, who they put on a pedestal, who they were motivated and inspired by. They'll never meet that person. Not only did I get to meet him, but it wasn't at like a meet and greet. It was like in a restaurant. Well, it was a bar at a restaurant. And able to sit down and interact not as a fan, but as just like an individual who shares similar likes and dislikes, who shares the similar kind of path they want to go on, right? And I kind of walked away and I said, that was one of the most amazing experiences of my entire life. And I remember very, very vividly thinking, if I become a wrestler, which I did want to becoming a wrestler. If I become a wrestler and I become famous like Davey Boy, and someone wants my autograph, or someone wants to talk to me, or someone wants to interact with me, I will never turn that person down, no matter where I'm at, no matter what's going on, because that right there was something that motivated me to go to the next level. But if it had been flipped and he was such a dick and was rude and fucking just a douchebag, I may have said, you know what? Wrestlers are fucking assholes. You know what I mean? Which, because that's how you fucking relate things. That one bad experience could leave you, fucked up for life. And you'd be like, fuck it, I don't even want to do this anymore. I'm not going to be a wrestler. Fuck that. Fuck him. Fuck everybody. Like, you could have just went down that road. And I was like, that's important to not just give back, but be good and kind to the people that have supported you throughout the years, who look up to you. Because they look up to you for a reason. They want to be like you. And I remember just like all these thoughts going through my head. It wasn't because I was drinking, because other thoughts go through my head when I'm drinking, like I want to fight and shit. But I remember just kind of putting it together and saying, I'll never turn anybody down. And to this day, I'm 42 years old, and that was something that clicked in my head in my early 20s. Maybe I was like 22, 23, maybe 24 at the most. It was I was about 21, 22, because I hadn't been wrapped up in drugs yet. And I remember, that kind of was embedded in my brain. And to this day, I've been in the middle of eating dinner and someone recognizes me and wants to take a picture. I fucking put the fork down, stand up, talk to them for a little bit. I've been in just weird places, like standing at a urinal, and the guy next to you, are you Jerry Ward? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, hey. And he starts a conversation with the urinal because he's a big fan. And as soon as you're done, he tries to shake your hand, and you're like, dude, you said you're taking your hand. Like, you know, elbow, boom, here we go. I got it. Like, but I'll never, for any reason, turn anybody down if they want to talk, have a picture, like whatever the case may be, because, you know, that meant so much to me that Davey Boy went out of his way. You know what? He didn't even go out of his way, but he included me in a little piece of his life for like an hour. And that meant the world to me. And if I could do that for someone and it doesn't affect me, it doesn't harm me, it doesn't hurt the people around me, and it helps that person and may literally send that person down a path where they can do something good for someone else because I did something good for them and that they feel that way, best fucking feeling in the world. So that's my story time. I haven't done a story time in a while. And people are always asking for story times, but I can't just make shit up. Like, as the stories come to me and I remember them, I'll tell them. Some of the stories include people that do not want information to get out. Like, they don't want anybody to know about what happened. Or, you know, the stories include people that, you know, don't necessarily want their business out there. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, it's actually a sad day to see, you know, Davey Boy passed away quite a few years ago. And now the Dynamite Kid is gone to see these guys pass away. But it reminds us, memento mori. It means death is coming. You will die. You need to live now. We're all going to die. As you get older, and you guys will learn this, more and more people just start dying around you because it's their time. They're older. They have issues, whatever the case may be. But it's not like you guys are all young, just dropping dead. Like, you're expecting more and more people, and then they do die, and you realize, fuck, another one. Fuck, another one. Shit, my turn. When is my turn? Is it coming up? I'm that age. I'm older than that person when they died. You start really thinking about your own mortality, and you start really, truly, I feel, living. BioStrandTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostranding.com is the blog. It's the Goodbye Dynamite Kid and Goodbye Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldogs. And we are out.